the public pause. Now, this confessor is now split between the two groups. He can't stand some of the guys within this their coalition. He went there to attend the birthday because he had to. You understand what is called compromise, right? Not that they will beat him if he no go, but come on. He's owned by the entire system as well. He's an old man, though, you know. But he was there. What did he say? Confessor Soyinka, please. Please. Mind you, the moment you get bored, if you begin to talk jargons that doesn't make any sense for real, you know what I mean? Like some of us today, you know, when we're growing up, right, we sort of like we're made to like dread him, not in a bad way, in a good way, because they believe that the kind of English language he speaks, right, they are out of this world. So you have to be somewhere this level before you can even understand what he's saying. But we are now grown-ups. So we understand that most of what he's saying are pure jargons, just to confuse his listeners, right? But if you get bored at some point, right, just let me know. I can stop it. Confessor, please, continue.
The celebrant, Your Royal Highnesses, all here present. I had to be here today. I had to accept this position, which is not really too much to my temperament. I don't like being chairman of anything. I don't like positions like that. However, this was a duty, a pleasure for me, and a sort of return match for the celebrant. I must begin with an apology that because I have to be also a temporary chairman, an interim chairman, a sort of fidihe chairman, because I have a plane to catch, so my apologies in advance for having to disappear. When I do, I hope the Cardinal Onoayekon, please, I hope you'll do me the honor of taking over the chairmanship when I finish my fidihe. Thank you. One of the reasons, the main reason why I had to be here is, first of all, that I admire Rotimi Amaechi's fighting spirit. And it's a very consistent one. But the most memorable for me, because I watched this event live on TV, all the way from Abu Dhabi. I wanted to see the drama of all the primaries going on during the election. I wasn't really here, but I said I want to watch this contest. And I'm glad I did, because it gave me a great, most malicious pleasure, rascally if you like, pleasure, to see the incumbent president being given a dose of his own medicine. Let me explain this. As somebody we knew as the last man standing when he fought to a standstill, a former president who was maneuvering himself into a position of changing the constitution and becoming, obtaining a third term. He keeps denying it, but he and I know for a fact, and so do others. And towards that goal, he was sort of emasculating the powers of the constituent elements of the federation. And by the end, this president was the last man standing, resisted that effort. All the others had sort of cowed down because their statutory allocation had been stopped, contrary to the Constitution. But one man, he was the last man standing. Well, he obtained a dose of his own medicine from Rotimi Amaechi during the primaries. I enjoyed that very much. While everybody was, falling over one another, conceding, There's one individual who got on the podium and he said, "No, I'm not conceding. I didn't come all the way here to commit Lule." And that man was Rotimi Amaechi. And I said, this is what democracy is all about. In addition, I think we in the literary world owe him a debt. He demonstrated his commitment to the literary occupation on the occasion of my 80th birthday. He created a mini festival around that event. I felt very honored by himself, Rivers State, and it gave me enormous pleasure to have worked with him towards bringing the title, the very enviable title of the literary capital, the book capital of the world, to Nigeria, to Rivers State. So that was another debt. But then there's also an ancillary debt which I expected him to pay. It is this. You know, Nigeria is a very weird country. Or more accurately, let's say Nigeria is peopled by very weird species. On that occasion, somebody, as usual, people carry all these political disagreements into the most execrable dimensions. And simply because one individual had a problem, political problem with Rotimi Amaechi, he went on to say that that mini festival was really a means of looting. I hope you do remember the occasion. It's important that we remind ourselves from time to time of the meanness of which people are capable, even on occasions of celebration. And suddenly, in the media, what is a joyful, literary...
I know. I was, somehow thinking that somebody's going to say, raise the white flag. Mayegun, peace, 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 remove them. You say, Mayegun, peace, oh, yeah, peace offering. That's the confessor. You know how they manage to rigmarole our own parents? It's because so many of them didn't have to deal with all this Shakespearean English, or this Victorian English, or some of, they just gave it to him like, Oyibo, visually showing car. So some people actually adored him that because they wanted to be speaking big grammar. I may be wrong. I want to believe that some people, some Nigerians, right, they were motivated to actually read up big words because of somebody like him. Because it was like a flex, like speak grammar. And somehow a lot of people do that in Nigeria. They say something that should have been said so in a simple way. Let me think of one. Please indulge me, all right? Because I want to put it down, right? So let's say, for instance, now you want to say the whole the issue has been resolved, all right? And then which is sort of like the issue has been settled or resolved. They may come back and begin to drop grammars like grammars like. Don't let me crack my head because I think I'm not at that now. Can't deal with that. Anyway, Professor Shawani in the midst of people who ordinarily it won't be in their midst, but what a compromised person, right, looks like. He couldn't ignore it. Although part of his speech was to thank Amaechi, but at the same time to recognize that Amaechi has a fighting spirit, and then used former president. I was expecting him to say something about Igbereju Lantern, but then he went to say past president and to stop him from the third term and all that. Anyway, pretend that you didn't hear any of that. How about this murderer who was supposed to be standing trial in Hague, the way we knew it, right? Somebody who's supposed to be in the Hague is currently walking free, and right now is in the midst of those who want to save you from Kolu. And we start Buratai, the butcher. He said, got something to say.
The celebrant, Amaechi. And also, I think I will take another minute to make a short remark on the speech or the lecture by the guest lecturer. My relationship with Amaechi dates back to 2011 when he was governor and I was brigade commander. And I've seen in him a leader who thinks security, he eats security, he sleeps security, and wakes up with security. The period he served as governor, we all know what happened, what transpired. He is the first to invite me to the political terrain. I was in Benin, Cotonou. One evening he called me and said, come and join my political campaign for the primaries. And behold, I had no hesitation. And as such, what happened? What happened during the primaries? He came second in order of the votes. He scored 316, while President Amaechi scored 1,271. And we have the sitting vice president came after him, and the sitting senate president came after him. The number 2 and number 3 in the order of precedence. What does that say? Means he has great political future. I see Amaechi playing fully the political leadership of this country, and I think his political role has just fully started. Your Excellency, I say congratulations. Secondly, this is my opinion, my views. I'm not a member of this government of TINUBU, you all know, but we played a prominent role in ensuring that he won the elections. But the topic, democracy and the Republic of Poverty, I want to take a historical perspective in context of our country. Please, this has essentially been done systematically and influenced by the International Monetary Fund and World Bank. And you will see, during the time of IBB, the Structural Adjustment Program and the Belt tightening policies, the foreign exchange, the regulations started fully during IBB's period. And also, it went on for the regulation, Shagari's era, Obasanjo's presidency, Jonathan's presidency, and of course, Buhari's presidency. We saw gradual pauperization of the Nigerians. The poverty level continuously increases, gradually there. But the only difference with this administration is that it came more radical. It is massive and sudden. It was not gradual. Listen to me. It was not gradual like the previous administration. It has its own advantages, this radical position. It shows a change from what we have been doing. We've been suffering gradually and smiling. But this time around, it came out fully to show that we must get it right, because we cannot continue. This is my own opinion. The main challenge, finally, yes. The main challenge, or the main challenges, and of course, disappointment of the majority of Nigerians are the seemingly insensitive or insensitivity to the massive impact of the government policy. Poverty and insecurity are real, and we all know. And we believe probably the second half of this administration will make a difference. Otherwise, I can see the coalition working hard. Thank you. God bless.
So his closing remark is that, you see, in order not to probably get called back, by the way, you know, that maybe the second time of TINUBU will be better, or the coalition, this, you know what I mean? The Federal Republic of Poverty. Oh, I just thought it was like the poverty capital of the world. Poverty capital. Which one is higher, right? Like in ranking, poverty capital of the world, or Federal Republic of Poverty. Here is what Atiku had to say. He said TINUBU and his gang, they have weaponized poverty, in his own words.
I want to amend a little bit of amendment and state weaponization of poverty. Why I say so, when I was growing up in the North, the most prosperous city or state was Kano State. The most prosperous. And incidentally, as soon as I finished my secondary school, my first location was Kano State. I never saw people sleeping outside. Then there were no villages of miles. I never saw people sleeping outside or outside the shops in Kano State. Recently, people were all over state sleeping under the bridge, on the streets, who are driven out by poverty and insecurity. There is a state agency in Kano responsible for providing succor to such people. And they started doing their work and enlightening people and removing people from under the bridges and outside on the streets. What happened? They were called to Abuja and they were told to stop it. That is why I said I wanted to amend the topic of today to add state weaponization of poverty. This particular government is weaponizing poverty. You may call me a conspirator, you may call me anything, and that is why we are in this alliance, to make sure we don't allow them to continue weaponizing policy. Of course, one of our star conspirators is Governor Amaechi. Therefore, we are here to wish you many happy returns of the day, and we will continue to conspire with you to make sure we minimize poverty and we don't use state machinery to weaponize poverty. I thank you very much. God bless you all. I want to
Sorry about that. So that's Atiku also offering to save us from TINUBU, to save us from APC, Ebekebe, the monster they all created. But there is a man in that room as well. His name is Seriake Dixon. He's the former governor of Bayelsa. And he is also a senator. That's where he retired. He retired to the Senate as a senator. But he quickly reminded all of them. He said, well, probably he's heard so much that and when he got to his turn, he was like, well, I see here that majority of you here are Syria like coupists. You all have an idea of how to remove president. Just the same way You removed Egbere Jolantan. Of course, everything they condemned Jonathan for, everything has been done and redone in multiple folds by the same guys. Just to remind them, in case if some of them are forgotten, I believe, right? And that's Dixon. Listen.